All right. What's good, Lorcana fans, and welcome back to the channel. We are here for the second episode of the Ohanacast. You know me, I am Bruce, and I am here with
Luca.
And then there is Corey and Matt and DJ, who have all been on the channel, and then Tanya, who has always been behind the scenes, but this is her. Oh wait, no, was on the draft. There we go. So she's been on the channel before. So what we're gonna start with is the first segment is gonna be the question of the week, which was what are you testing and taking to the tournaments the next couple of the weeks for set championships, and why are you making that deck choice? We're gonna start off by reading Ketrical, his comment. It says, besides the big three, Diablo discard, red purple bounce, and red blue items, I've been messing with aggro decks trying to sneak under some of the removal in the red based decks. The biggest issue is that the deck struggles against steel removal, which there is a ton of in the current meta. I feel like that's been an issue since set one, right? But we have also seen that be something that works, right? Like the deck won Atlanta. That was a pretty quick deck. Aggro decks have been like pretty good since set one. He actually provided a list here playing like blues. We were talking about that earlier in testing. Today, I think that card's really powerful. Nothing else to talk about here. And then Metz also commented. He said, Green Steel getting ready for the gauntlet of set champs. The deck just goes off, wins a ton of games from being, quote, broken, which we'll have a reason to talk about that a little more later, but rest in peace. We'll save that for a later segment. So for me, what are you testing and taking to tournaments for the next couple weeks? Right now, pretty much only red purple like a lot of the team. I started testing Steel Song a little bit today, and that was really fun. So maybe, depending on the room this weekend, I will choose to play that. But other than that, I'm gonna have to stick to red purple.
For me as well, I'm just gonna stick to red purple. It's the deck I've been playing for the entirety of the game. I might test a little bit of Steel Song and look at this family yellow steel, but I'll probably just stay to red purple. I've already gotten 2 Ursulas and I've won a tournament so far.
I am sticking to. Sorry, I don't have a cam, guys, but I'm sticking to green steel most likely, just because Corey has the red purple, and I prefer not playing red purple because the rest of the team is playing it.
It's gotta be different.
I will continue playing red purple because Tanya stole my green steel deck, and I've had success with it already. I won a set championship with it in the first chapter box the first weekend of set championship. So keep it going.
He was playing green steel for like the whole format, and then Tanya was like, and then he's been playing red purple, and then he started winning the tournament. So it was clearly a good thing.
So I'm gonna stick to Steel Song. That's what I've been playing also since set one. So it's the deck I'm most comfortable with, and 2, I feel like it's kind of coming back in popularity, and we kind of already talked about it previously on the channel. And yeah, it's just got to match up into pretty much everything. Yeah, doesn't like seeing red blue, but we're not seeing a lot of red blue nowadays with all the red purple running around.
Yep.
Cooking.
All right, Matt, talk about what you're playing for the next couple of weeks.
I did play Steel Song these past store champs. Came up short to teammates both times. It was always fun to play Steel Song. Probably gonna play some more of it in the store champs, but also wanna play Green Steel since the squirrel will no longer be with us.
Disappointed.
Alrighty, so that is the question of the week segment. Next in the notes is the Cast Shifter Race, which is always the game show of the Ohanacast, and it is inspired by the from Remember the Game, the video game podcast. Shout outs. The first week we did all purple cards based on the Min Bounce package. This week, because of the revitalization, reburst of the popularity of Steel Song in the area, we picked Steel Song cards. This week it's going to be Ariel and Cinderella and the Flute. Okay, Ketrical also decided to comment on the cast shift to race this week. His Cassie decided to do Ariel. He said she is well priced and her ability plays into her card, making her for an all-around useful character that can see play in multiple decks, which we have seen in like Seal Song and the Under the Sea deck that's been creeping up. He said shift with Sleepy's Flute. It's such a good card for closing games out with if it were in a color that paired better with other things. Possibly this being green or blue, that would have opened up the songs deck to something other than just Amber Steel. That's pretty interesting. And Erase. Cinderella is good, but removing her from the game doesn't kill an entire deck type like removing the other two cards would do. So less than that, I don't like the card, and more than I just want to obliterate the decks. All right. King B, Braden, he said cast Cinderella, interesting one drop with an ability that provides a lot of play options, yet vulnerable enough to stay balanced. Shift, Ariel, incredible card that will only get better as more songs come out. I know that Amber Steel doesn't need anything taken away at the moment, but shifting this card to uninkable may help balance it in the future. And then Erase Sleepy's Flute, free lore for doing what Amber wants to do anyways, it can go. And then Duck Beanie Senpai said cast Cinderella. It's a one drop that doesn't do something immediately, but has a presence when it hits the board. It forces whoever is across the table to play around the plethora of 3-cost songs that have a huge impact on the tempo of the game. We love good one drops. He said shift Ariel. He also agreed to make this card uninkable. It gives one less health, but it looks at the top 5 cards instead of 4, makes the card impactful in play, and if it isn't addressed, punish the player who didn't remove it immediately. The game needs more of these kinds of search effects, and in all colors TBH, it's also coming from a one-piece player. And then he said, Erase Flute. This card does nothing to give you any kind of card advantage or further your board state. It only works once per copy, and almost feels redundant in my opinion. It doesn't interact with the board at all, and honestly, I'm not a big fan of this card. Metzbauer also commented. He said, cast Ariel. This card feels really good, strong, but has a chance to whiff to search and make it not super overpowered. Singer 5 is great. Shift Flute. Several colors have no real way to interact with this card. My opinion would be to make it inkable and need to tap if you sang a song with a character this turn, gain 1 Lord instead of just generally playing a song. Erase Cinderella. This card alters the early game and can make a huge swing in the early game as turn 2 with how many songs it is able to sing. It makes the opponent have to consider so many different things to not get blown out, but it's too strong for me for a 1 call. Alrighty. For me, I'm going to cast Ariel. I think that card has been really good since set 1, especially when we first kind of found the Steel Song deck. It's been good since then. It does whiff a ton. There are a lot of cards that out it now with Brawl, so it's kind of easier to keep those 5-cost singers off the board than it might have previously have been. I will erase Cinderella. I hate that card, honestly. I think it's really good, but I hate how I think Mets kind of mentioned that they kind of snowballed that tempo when they play it on turn 1. They sing a song on 2, and you kind of never stick a card ever again. We talk about that all the time. And then I guess I have to shift Flute. How do I want to shift Flute? Maybe it could be an action that floats for a couple turns instead of sticking on the field. So maybe for like it'll be like for this turn and your next turn, if you play a song, you can like gain a lore or something. I just don't like how it just stays around, and then if they have like 4, they're like gaining 4 a turn, and it's kind of ridiculous.
So for me, I'm gonna go cast Cinderella because I think the card's pretty good, and I think like for Ariel, I definitely shift that. The card's so broken, like it does everything on its own. You don't need anything else for its pieces because it finds its own song. It's like hard-ish to kill because it has a 3 body, and like it's Singer 5. It sings anything you're gonna grab. So I'd probably make it uninkable, or I'd make it look at top 3 cards instead, or like a Singer 4. I think it's a little too strong. And, gotta get rid of Flute. I'm a red-purple player. You know how it is. Gotta get rid of that card.
I'd probably cast Ariel as well. I think that with the amount of times that I've used her specifically and she's whiffed, I think the card's fair and it just dies to Medusa. There's nothing that needs to change about it in my opinion. I'd probably shift Flute. I'd either change its color, because I was thinking about it too. Like, I want to play song like Amber with another color instead of just steel. I love Amber Steel, but I also like to try other colors, as my entire team knows. And then and then I'd probably erase Cinderella just because I've been on the receiving end of it. I've been on the giving and receiving end of it, and it feels good when you're on the giving end, but it feels real bad on the receiving end of a storm on turn 2. So
I would probably. I'm gonna start with my erase. I'm gonna erase the 1-drop Cinderella. I think that card's really good. Yeah, like we've kind of reiterated, being able to sing removal on turn 2 and still be able to play either 2 more 1-drops or the 2-drop Ursula Singer 4 is just super strong. I would shift Flute. I would make it. I'd make it like a gain 2 lore and like banish the item or something like that.
I was
Just,
like,
I had to finish my sentence.
Oh yeah. Like that. That's probably I could
And
not.
then
Yeah.
I would just cast Aerial. I think I played Amber still for a really long time, and even though you got like an 80% chance to hit, there's a lot of times when you really needed to not miss that it misses, and it feels really bad. So I think it's fine the way it is.
Yeah, I would cast Ariel. It's been like a staple of Lorcana since set 1. Showed us how the singing is a big thing. I would shift Cinderella, make her an uninkable. I feel like she's so powerful for a 1-drop that as an uninkable would be fine. And it'll make the list so much tighter for them. And then I'd erase Flute because I don't really feel like it adds anything to the game by making it like more fun or keeping the let's get rid of the Flute.
I think that's a really good take.
Yeah. And so for me, having played a lot of Steel Song, my race was also the Cinderella, mainly because of that mirror match, where it really highlights the strength of Cinderella and just the kind of, you don't think about it that much, but as we think of like Bucky and Medusa, but Cinderella's really just completely, I'd say, broken in the early game. And if you're going first as Steel Song, I played even other lists that are like the Big Pharma, Big Tobacco, look at this family list, which they repeatedly said was teched for the mirror. And every game, whoever went first, and we played 6 games, won 20-0 almost. So even though they were teched for the mirror, if I went first, I still won because I had Cinderella into Ursula into Ariel, and you just never get to stick a board. So it's just, it would be the card that I would say needs to go. Even uninkable, I think it still would find its place, obviously, and still be searched for on turn 1. Flute, I feel like uninkable is fine on Flute, and I personally like it because it gives you that extra reach that Steel Song a lot of times won't have into those control matchups. So it kind of helps you get across the finish line. I do understand people's frustration with it, where you're not really doing a lot and you play a song and then just get free lore. But shift would be left to Ariel. I was trying to think of a lot of ways after a lot of people had already mentioned different ways to shift the card.
Make it a 3/3.
Make it a 3/3.
Yeah, so it can't get
brawled
better if you like it.
So I went with a kind of creative route with Ariel, where I didn't want to make it uninkable because I feel like it just was fine being uninkable, and we already have a bunch of uninkables in our decks. But I was almost even trying to think long term of that enter the battlefield ability and kind of front loading Ariel's power. Whereas right now it's almost a yes, it goes and immediately finds hopefully a song, but it can't do anything. But if it sits there, you're singing a song every turn with Singer 5, and it kind of needs to have a response. So I gave it took off the Singer 5 tag and added a this turn grant another character +3 Singer. Then you can search for, it requires you to have another character on the board, search for a whole new world, play Smee can sing a whole new world. But then Errol's not really much of use. She's a 2/3 after that, just kind of vanilla 3 drop. So that was kind of my take on it.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Alrighty. So next, typically, or what we would like to start doing is what we call the Magic Mirror Q&A segment, where you guys are allowed to ask us anything card related or not. But as we grow, we would like you to join the Discord. So on any social and in the description of this video, you will find a link to our Discord where you can again participate in the Magic Mirror Q&A segment that we would like to start. Next, we're going to move on to our last week tournament experience, which everyone kind of gets to talk about how they did and what their kind of thoughts are on their performance.
I was saying I like DJ's idea because I kind of talked about it before, where I think there eventually be like a support, but it'll affect sing costs. So
Facts.
Yeah.
I like that. It was really well thought out, DJ. Say you were thinking about being the last one, and you got it, bro.
I was like, I don't think anyone's going to take that one. So it's very radical.
Alrighty. I mean, that's what we like to see. That's the fun part of the segment. Alrighty. So for me, so we went to 3 tournaments this past weekend. On Fridays, me, Corey, Matt, and Luca hit Timmy Max for the Set 1 box champion or box tournament. I did not do well at that. It was 2-game format. I 2-0'd my first opponent, 1-1 the next 3. And then got 2-0'd by Bucky in the last round playing red purple and did not make it. That was sad. On Saturday, we went to Bladen Gaming where I won 2-0 against Steel Song. And I lost the roll. And then next round, I played... what did that even say? That's green purple. I lost the roll to that too, 2-1. Round 3, I played blue steel. I lost the roll on that, and then I won. And then I ID'd twice into top 8, and then I lost to Bucky in top 8, 2-1, because I could not draw the prep game 3. And then we also went to Multiverse of Burlington. I know, unlucky. Round 1, I won that against Rare Purple. Round 2, also lost the roll there. The only roll I won this weekend comes in the next match against Luca, who I won against 2-1. And then I played against Green Steel round 3, won that 2-1. ID'd rounds 4 and 5. And then I played Luca in the top 8, lost the roll, and got destroyed. Great weekend. 2 L's in the top 8. Hoping to do better this weekend.
So for mine, it was Timmy Max. I didn't do good in that one, so I lost my winning into Purple Steel. I kind of forgot my matchups. I think I just mostly played a lot of mirror matches. We went 1-1 and decided it's better for us to just 2-0 one of each other, so we decided on playing a 3rd game, and he beat me. He got me. The next tournament, what was the next one?
It's a Burlington on Saturday.
Burlington was
the one you won.
That was the one that I won.
He was like,
I think I played 2 green steel, 2 mirror matches, and a blue steel player. Top 8 was against my bestie Bruce here. Unfortunate hands by him. And then in top 4, I played. What did I play in top 4? I played another mirror match.
Thank you.
Oh, I played blue steel. Yeah, I played the blue steel, and then in finals it was me and my teammate / friend Michael Brown. We just die rolled it because we wanted to go home, and I won the die roll. I think it was like 9-2 or something. And then the next day was RC. It was Luxury Ball. Luxury Ball. I went. Played blue steel 2-0, play mirror 2-0, play mirror 2-0, I played you 4th round, right, DJ? Yeah, I played DJ 4th round. We went 1-1. Round 5, I played a green steel, went 1-1. And then round 6, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was just 1-1. Made top 8. Beat who in top 8? What did I play? I played Mets in top 8. Our other friend / teammate. He was on green steel. I think it was just on pretty unfortunate draws and 2-0'd him. And then lost in top 8 or top 4 to DJ. Got crushed.
No, it's my turn. Sorry. Friday I didn't play anywhere. Saturday was a very unfortunate day for me. There was like 9 red purple players, and all I saw was like the mirror, and then blue steel, and then amber steel, and it was just, I think I went X1 or X5 that day, which was kind of miserable. And then that was at Multiverse. And then Sunday, I actually had a really decent showing. I was undefeated going into round 4. Played 2 red purple matchups, played a lemon lime matchup, and those are all pretty easy wins. And then somehow, tables 1, 2, and 3 all paired up with teammates, mine being Corey. So we decided to ID, hoping that, I mean, he knew he was going to win at least one of his games to get to top 8, but I was hoping I could win one of mine to make it to top 8, and then I ended up playing 2 more red purples. This is what I get for, like, wanting the red purple matchup, was that, like, 5 of my 6 games. Yeah, 5 of my 6 games on Sunday were red purple. And I just didn't see combo. I think I saw Bucky one time in six games, 2 matches, which was very miserable. So like they just drew into a friends finally, and it just kind of snowballs after that. But yeah, that was my showing. But I did go only X2 on Sunday, so that was kind of nice.
Friday, I went to Timmy Max. I do not remember my matchups, other than the fact that I know my round 1 was the blue-green Bucky discard, which it didn't really do anything, so I think he could probably just like drew pretty bad both games. And then I won, and then I got to the top 8. I played what did I play the first round? I don't even know. Top 4, I was supposed to play green still, and then they were like, "Oh no, the pairings are messed up," and then I got switched to purple still.
Mufasa, right?
Oh yeah, I played Mufasa in top 8, and then I was supposed to play green still, but they were like, "Oh, the pairings are messed up, and you're actually playing red purple still," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I won that game 2-0, and then I had to play red blue in the finals, and I had played that guy in Swiss, and I was like, "Do you want the box or do you want the genie?" And he said, "After the whooping I got in Swiss, I will take the genie." So
Shout out to Lucas for the buys every time.
shout out Lucas. Shout out Lucas.
Oh my god.
Saturday I went to Multiverse with everybody. I finished 9th. Got bubbled out because one of the games was submitted as a draw, which forced me out of top 8. Otherwise, there would have been 5 of us in top 8. And then that is what it is.
My man
it
is
happens.
singing this song.
And then we went to Sunday. We went to Victory Point. I went through the gauntlet. My first round was amber still. My next 3 rounds were green still, which I won all. My first 3 rounds I drew with the green still because it was Tanya. And then my next round, I played blue steel. I 2-0'd him. And then last round of Swiss was going to be a red purple mirror. We drew in top 8. I played red purple. I won both games on the draw to get that 2-0. Top 4, I played against Amber Steel again. It was Perry from the Big Tobacco, Big Pharma group. And I am that man's kryptonite. He drew unplayable games 1 and 3. And then the guy that I was going to play in the finals asked what I was playing. I told him I was playing red purple, and he was like, "Yep, I'll just go ahead and let you have the champion mat." So I was like, "Okay, thank you." How's that?
So Friday at Timmy Max, I played green steel. it was a terrible experience, like it normally is. Split with blue steel, red purple, yellow red, purple yellow, and that's how that went. So we played amber steel the next day, and that went pretty well. I got to play Mare against Zach Bivens. That's always a good time. Then in top 8, lost to a teammate playing red purple. Yeah, but and then on Sunday we tried to run it back, and it was going well to the last round. And then DJ 2-0'd me and we brought it all the way home. So that's how my weekend went.
Yeah.
All the team kills.
The W tournament report.
Yeah. So mine, I didn't do anything on Friday, but on Saturday I went to R&B Comics and Games in Statesville, North Carolina, and there I brought my Steel Song list. This is when I was still working with 3 Pride Lands in there. I went in, faced Red Blue in round 1 and won 2-0. Then second round played Green Steel, 1-2-0, and then it was just draws from there on out. I drew against Mets. Playing Green Steel, we drew. I played Nate, which is Ketrasil from the Discord. He played Blue Steel, which I really was not looking forward to playing against. We drew. I played another Blue Steel. We drew. And then I played Synthetic Hydra, who was playing Red Purple. And I just had a game that I completely bricked. And so we drew. And then at that point, neither of us were going to make top 8, just like a bunch of the people that day. So we rolled for it. I rolled first, rolled an 8. Felt pretty good because I always lose rolls to make top cut. And then he rolls a 9. So that ended my day on Saturday. I did get some redemption on Sunday at my home store of Luxury Ball RC. I ended up winning out there. Played Amber Steel Mirror round 1. I played Braden round 2 playing Green Steel. And then we went 1-1. I did make some tweaks to the list and I cut the Pride Lands completely because I didn't expect a lot of red blue in the field. And I added 2 Along Came Zeus and 1 Little Cinderella, specifically for all these mirrors that we're seeing. Round 3, I played my buddy Scott, who goes to the store. He was playing Green Steel. I won 2-0. And then round 4 was Luca, where we split 1-1. Played Danza, which I believe is, I know he was playing Green Steel. I forget his actual name.
Team Mexico.
Shout out
Team Mexico. And then played Matt, who is on Amber Steel. Felt the worst I felt in any match I played all weekend. I bare necessitated him my 1 copy on turn 2 because he was going first, and I was like, oh man, like I gotta just stop any songs that are coming out because he's gonna have less cards. If I can just stop his card. I look at this man's hand. He has 2 Sleepy's Flute and 2 Whole New Worlds, and he's on 2 ink. And I was just like, I'm sorry. So didn't feel good about it, but won that round, which got me into top 8. I was 7 seed, so I was on the draw every single set after that. So I played, thankfully got paired into, felt bad for Noah, who was playing Amber Amethyst aggro. So that was one Amber Amethyst list that I think the only one there, and it made top 8. A lot of people probably not expecting a hyper aggro list, but he ran into Amber Steel and I just removed everything. And then played Luca in top 4, won that 2-0, and then played Fear in Caesar from Team Mexico in the finals, and it was super stressful, but was able to win 2-1.
That's nice. So everyone had a pretty good weekend. I think we ended up it was 5 Ursulas.
Did not have a good weekend.
I didn't, neither did I didn't win any, but it's
Another good weekend, guys. Another good one.
Okay, well, we ended up with 5 Ursulas on Team Ohana and 10 total top making top cut. So I would say overall for the team, it was a good weekend. The next segment that we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about YCS. I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! DLC. We're gonna talk about DLC Bochum. And Matt's gonna lead us off on that. All right.
All right. So for the DLC that just took place in Bochum, the big four decks took about just over 70% of the meta, with 489 purple red players at 25%, 431 green steel at 22%, 300 red blue at 15%, and 261 blue steel at 13%. With the other four decks that came in with a respectable amount of decks were Amber Steel at 115, Purple Steel at 96, Purple Green at 82, and Yellow Red at 76. For the top 32, it was 11 Red Purple, 16 Green Steel, 1 Blue Red, 3 Blue Steel, and then only 1 Green Purple. And then top 16 was 5 red purple, 8 green steel, 1 blue red, and 2 blue steel, with red purple eventually winning in a mirror match after they both beat a green steel in top 4.
Right. Oh no, the other one was blue steel. It was green steel and blue steel. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, they both got bodied. Yeah, so one of the things that I agree with that the commentators were kind of saying at the end of the stream there was that in terms of like what was brought to the tournament and made top cut, we kind of got a standout with red, purple, and green steel kind of like pulling themselves like forward compared to the other decks. Like we've been talking about the big four, also including blue, steel, and what's the other deck? That red blue. Yeah, but we kind of don't believe in that deck around here anymore.
We never believed in blue decks.
Except for our buddy over here.
And Tanya. But so red, purple, and green steel kind of just pulled themselves forward and like show that they're just kind of the two decks to beat right now. For a couple more weeks at that. But we'll talk about that in just a second. But I think these are the decks that we'll just see going forward for set championships, taking the most spots until we see set 5 and then the errata take place. Somebody else talk.
So I noticed in the top two so the top 4 was green steel versus red purple. Red purple took that down, and then it was red purple versus blue steel also took that down. In the mirror match, it was my list from the 10K and also my friend George on TFM. The exact 60 from my 10K was second place, and then first place cut 2 Tremaines for 2 Peter Pan Shower Finder, I believe it was, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's cool to see that my deck is like getting out there, and that's like kind of the cookie cutter list for every red purple right now.
I just think the turnover for Emerald Steel is impressive because having played Emerald Steel, if you don't see like the Bucky combo, it feels really bad. So seeing that it like had the 50% conversion rate into top 32 and in top 16 is just like it's pretty good.
Yeah, impressive.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was looking at as well as the conversion rate, like not necessarily how much percent of the field was running a specific deck, but how much of those converted into the next round. And seeing Ruby Amethyst and Emerald Steel really overperform when it came to 25 and 22% respectively of the field going up to 31.7 to 39.7 just speaks volumes over to how good the deck is. Even when we trickle down into like that Amethyst Emerald, which wasn't represented very much at all, just them even sticking around with kind of having 3 decks in top 64, which kind of essentially increased their percentage of the field in that one round. Yeah, they trickled off, but I mean, that deck honestly, to me, is not in a great spot right now. But just to see the conversion rates of all these decks, and sad to see Amber Steel not convert too well here.
I'm also interested to know what deck fell off because there's only 63 decks in the top 64 meta.
No.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be like the one where Amethyst, Emerald, Mufasa wasn't even a list in the breakdown,
Yeah.
and then it just randomly showed up in one.
3 purple yellow players.
Yeah. Tanya, we kind of skipped over you. Did you have any
No,
thoughts?
I have no thoughts.
Oh, okay.
Head empty.
I'm sure that it'll be edited and in post. But the next thing we're going to talk about is the biggest news of the last week in Lorcana, and it is the big Bucky errata. We've had a lot of conversations over the last couple weeks. Last couple of days. Last couple of days about what impact this is going to have on the game. And the changes to Bucky were as follows. He is now a 3 cost. He is still inkable. They did not continue to butcher him in that way. His stats are pretty much the only thing is the same as that he stayed a 1/1. His effect now only works when you shift a Floodborn instead of generally playing a Floodborn. So Aladdin is now going to be unplayable in terms of trying to get that discard. And then he no longer has ward. The most important part, the only thing that probably actually mattered.
He's a 3 cost.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah, shut up. So opinions on that. I think that we all kind of have talked about it. We think that generally only one of those things probably needed to be done. The 3 is kind of overkill. They potentially could have just outright banned the card. Our other teammate Michael was under the idea that if they could have just like straight up banned this Bucky and not even choosing a different character and making like the same card but how they wanted it to be to actually fit the theme and not be so broken. They could have just made another Bucky, like literally just printed a new Bucky, the effect that they wanted it to be, and banned the original Bucky. And that's how that would have just worked. I think that was a pretty fine idea. Like, we repeat characters all the time. He just could have been like Squirrel Scout Bucky instead of like the Pin Needle Bucky, like from the second movie. So yeah, I like that idea a lot.
I think the statement from Rochelle kind of like helps like understand why. They said because they obviously announced today on their Instagram, I think, or it was in a Musha report, that the game's getting released in Japan. And then we know that they're pushing it to like Mexico and like just South America and other countries. And I think they said that the reason they went with the errata over the ban for this card was simply so that when those countries open their boxes, there's basically not one less green slot in set 1, or I think it was set 2 that Bucky came out. But that was like their justification.
Yeah, I think that makes some sense. Luca, what are you thinking?
I believe that they should have just. I think we had a pretty healthy meta. Like, there's been 4 different decks for every DLC challenge. Even in like, I know it's different for set 3, but like I feel like our meta is like very healthy right now. Like we have 4 or 5 decks, and like there can be a like cool deck that sneaks in. I think it's like kind of a rock paper scissors format. I personally really like rock paper scissors formats because you have to play very well, and the better you play, the better you do. There's not like a best deck in the format, and I really like that. That's why I play red purple. I think the better you play and the more games you play with the deck, the better it gets. I think they could have just banned Bucky though. All right.
Yeah, I think that they just did the shift Floodborn to trigger it would have been perfectly fine because it makes it like terrible right now, but leaves it open for the future to potentially come back in. But with the triple nerf, it seems like banning it was the better option.
Yeah, I feel like just the text change on it for the shift, like Matt said, would have been enough. Like making it a 3 and then taking ward away. There are so many options to get rid of Bucky. Like it seems almost like I don't know, like it was very overkill.
He's not sticking.
It's not
Yeah,
sticking.
he's not sticking. Like there's so many ways. Like I mean, red purple can literally just be King You Medusa you. Like get rid of your Bucky, get rid of something else. Like or get rid of something else, get rid of your Bucky if it's the last thing on board, and then like everybody.
In what world is red purple doing that?
It's just
We
an
have like
option.
6 things on the board. We're never doing
We
it.
can brawl him now.
No, we can brawl with that, but like with the new Bucky, like your friend's Tinkerbell from 6 tables down is gonna kill him. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That basically, I am of the same sentiment. I think the three nerfs is just OD. I think the only thing they needed to change on the card was get rid of Ward. Like if they just get rid of Ward, the card's already almost unplayable. You might play it just to get that like the Shift Diablo discard and maybe a discard on 3. I was like, but it's never sticking beyond that if you just get rid of the Ward, because Red's got Brawl. Almost all the other decks are either playing Red's got Brawl. All the steel cards are going to have Storm, so it's never living beyond 3 if you just get rid of the Ward. So I think it's just super overkill. I understand. I think the main reason they did it, and it's not obviously like they said, it's not for a competitive fix. I think they did it because
Casual players.
the point of the game is to have fun, and nobody is having fun when they can play the game. So that's why they did it.
yeah, I think discard is the least fun mechanic in card games. Period.
Yeah, it was definitely at a point that it was almost unfun. And that's kind of what my sentiment was as well. And what I had seen a lot on social media was even new players. I felt really bad for a player at my local store who quit after set 2 for a bit, came back and wanted to start playing again. And I was like, just so you know, if you play this deck, you're going to have a bad time. And it just feels terrible to, even in a favorable matchup against Bucky, it just feels unfun because you're just end up, okay, I'm dumping my hand. Okay, great. I'm just playing the card off the top of my deck. I even was, I mean, they definitely butchered him way beyond repair right now. I was even saying, even if they removed the ward and gave him an extra health, so he didn't die to just like Tinkerbell or Avalanche or something like that. A little bit more sticking power, 1/2 for 2, and that effect would be a little bit more healthy because right now nobody can really even build certain decks. Like that's, I think, the game design being restrictive where yes, there's not a meta blue yellow deck or something like that, but what would blue yellow ever do to interact with your Bucky? Nothing.
They go
So
on
some
5. Come on.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, if it has ward, like you can't even target with like Let It Go, Hades, and you're
Just brings back the original.
yeah. So
Oh Lord. All right. So the last thing that we're going to talk about is kind of what our thoughts are and how things are going to kind of shift over the next couple weeks and couple months, right? Because we have set 5 just around the corner at this point. I will say with the Bucky change, typically with the new sets coming out, like things change, right? But like they don't change like drastically from the jump. I do think that because of Bucky, we're gonna see like a lot of changes coming forward. Like maybe like the color combinations that are good will still be the same, but I think the decks will probably be very different. And hopefully because Bucky's gone, like some new decks and like color combinations we haven't seen like over the last couple sets can like appear. Right, you. All right, Luca.
Good answer, Luca.
Good answer.
Okay. Um, I think steel will always be good in the format. I think it's gonna keep growing. Same for red purple. Red purple has always been viable. I think it's just gonna keep getting additions. It's hard for a board wipe in a game to be very bad. That's why we have grab your swords and V prep. I think blue will obviously grow. It has a bunch of good cards. I think everything's like pretty stable right now. With Bucky getting the errata, it'll change the game, but I don't know how much because I think green steel will still be very viable. You're just going to be a more aggressive deck with Diablo, and like Curse Merfolk and Flynn, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think green steel will obviously still be really good. I think now you got to be a better player to pilot it, so you'll probably see it a little bit less, but it was good before Diablo Bucky, and it'll be good after. I think you'll see a lot more red purple since it's shown its dominance against everything. And then without that Bucky, I'm sure it'll be better, a more fair matchup or 50-50 matchup, I should say.
No additions.
Tyler, Corey.
I mean, I just echo the same sentiment. I think the only major downside to it is that Toronto is going to have to get played with the Bucky errata in place, but no set 5. So
Yeah,
I think you're pretty much going to see that tournament get heavily dominated by red purple, and then a bunch of decks that are designed to counter red purple. So I think aggro will be popular. So I don't know. I think it's a good change for the game, but I think that it kind of makes Toronto feel kind of bad.
yeah. I was gonna say.
When we need more set 5 cards to know if anything's going to go on beyond that.
Right.
Again, just the same as what everyone else has said of it being gone and opening up that one slightly unfavorable matchup for red purple. I think red purple is going to dominate, and kind of echoing the excitement for their being opened up decks that could just get dumpstered by Bucky discard actually potentially showing up. And I mean, you could see more of those rogue decks, I feel like, now, because whereas red purple is really strong, blue steel, all those are good. They're not, you can't, you can play into it at least, and you can find strategies that don't involve not playing with no cards in hand.
I'll say. Well, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Check out the description. Follow us on everything, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. This will be on YouTube. Please join the Discord so you can participate in those segments that were earlier in the podcast so we can read your comments and thoughts. We'd love to hear them. And just check everything out. Follow us, and I cannot stand you guys.
If this gets uploaded before Sunday, make sure you join the giveaway for the playmat. And
Oh yeah, the giveaway on Facebook. Share the post, follow, like it.
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh. It could be
Honey
free.
Wizard.
Oh, and the Team Ohana notepad.
Yeah. More importantly, the Team Ohana lore pad that you desperately want.
And
I need some more of those, actually.
Yeah, see, the demand is high.